What happened in the month of October in Edmonton's real estate market? Well, we're going to talk about that in this video. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to hit that button down below and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the new videos that we put out every single week. So what is happening in the market in Edmonton? Now, we've been used to seeing high numbers, high sales, and low inventory, but as you know, if you've been watching along this last year, our market is shifting. Now, it hasn't shifted fully over to a buyer's market yet, but we definitely have moved into a balanced market. And if you take a look at the stats, it's going to back that up. So let's take a look at the numbers right now. So in terms of new listings coming onto the market in the month of October, it went down from October, which is quite normal. We have less listings in October than in September, and likely November, December will also follow that pattern. But if you take a look at compared to last year at this time, we had more listings this year than last year, 15%, which is pretty high. And that means that we have more options available. Now, you'd think that's a good thing, and it would be if the numbers for sales has also gone up. That would keep that market the same. But however, if you take a look at the sales for all of the residential property in Edmonton, that number has gone down. So if you take a look at the current month, the stats of 1437 sales in October, and the full year to date is 17,000 sales. That's a reduction of 17% in sales compared to last year. So definitely a change and shifted market. We were predicting it earlier this year, and it became more and more true as the year progressed. And we're moving into the quieter months of the year. Come January, February in the 2026 year, we'll see what the market's going to do. I suspect that we probably will stay pretty similar. I don't suspect we're going to drop. Now, what happened with the prices because of all this? If you take a look at the average price of a single family home, that price is now at $544,000, which is a 0.7% increase from last month, but a 1% decrease from last year, which if you aren't following, people have been thinking that our average price was going to increase 8 to 10% like it did last year. We didn't even go up. We are now down from year to year. Now let's take a look at the semi-detached homes. We're looking at $430,000 for the average price, with a 4.8% increase from last year. And if you take a look at the townhouses at $292,000, you're at a negative 2% increase. And the average apartment condominium at $191,000 went down 5% from last month, and it's just a 1% increase from last year. So our numbers for increasing over the last year definitely have slowed right on down. And if you take a look at the average days on market, it's also reflective of that. So the average days on market for condos has always been higher, and it started to get lower because they've been selling, but it's now creeped back up to 50 days as average days on market. What about single family homes? The detached homes is upwards at 39 days, just 1 day higher than last year. And if you take a look at the semi-detached, that jumped 38 days versus 31 from last year, and then 39 days for the row townhouses versus 35. So if you take a look at that, definitely the average days on market being in the 40s and 50 range is definitely now more of a balanced market sign. And as we continue to climb in those numbers, we're going to start hitting the buyer's market. Buyer's market means that buyers can take their time to make a decision. They're not rushed because the sales aren't happening, so they are the ones that are the sales. And the listings just need to be really priced well. They need to show well, because they're competing against more listings. The buyers now have more choice, and that's why the market's not moving as quickly. Now, another way to tell if it's a buyer's market, balanced market, or seller's market is to look at the inventory that's on the market. So if all the listings on the market right now were to not add a new listing, and we were to take the average time to sell a home, how long would it take to sell everything off? Well, right now it's sitting at 3.5 months of inventory, which doesn't look too crazy. I would say the 3 to 4 months of inventory is more of that balanced market. Once you get up higher than 4 months, we are now definitely inching into a buyer's market. And we have seen very long times for houses to sit on the market. But at the end of the day, whether you're selling or buying a home, you can always know how to work the market. If you're working with a realtor who knows how to get you whether you're buying or selling. Because in every market, there is a way to sell your home faster than the average days. There is a way to sell your home for more than the average price, but you have to take a look at the strategy. You have to take a look at what's been selling in the market for the last 60 to 90 days, and you have to take a good strategy in terms of what are you going to do to the home. And when you're buying, how do you buy a home, and how do you be patient, but also how do you be realistic about what is out there for the price point you're looking for? Because even if you think, hey, that house isn't selling, it doesn't mean that that seller is going to give it to you away for free. Because at the end of the day, though they didn't sell, they still don't need to sell to you. They can just keep the house. If you look at the market stats for October, that's going to help you make a decision on what price points things should sell for in November. And in November, we're going to be able to see what the market is look like for December. So if you see the pattern, you're using history to dictate what's going to happen. You're also going to look at the market to see if there's a lot of activity, to see if you have to move quickly. And though things have been slowing down, we still do see multiple offers. Maybe we don't see 4, 5, 6 offers, but we might still see 2 or 3. That's still a multiple. Multiple is more than 1. As sellers, if you're disappointed, it's like the adjustment of expectations, and even to get an offer quickly is still a good thing, even if it's just 1 offer. So seller and buyer expectations need to be adjusted in this coming year if you want to be successful in any of the real estate transactions you're going to be doing. We're going to talk next month about what's going to happen for December based on the November activity and what potentially could be happening for January onwards in 2026.